I'm just letting you know you can start now.
Oh, my bad. Since we're all set here. Hi, everyone. My name's Shakyra Dunn. I am a voice actor, fantasy writer, gamer, singer, tired. How you guys doing? And there it is. I expected the Shakira thing. I'm gonna get that the rest of my life, I imagine. It's fine. I'm just peeping the chat. So we're all settled here today for this fun little event talking about social media. Social media is going fun, isn't it? Thank you for having me. Ooh, I'm not entirely sure how to start with talking, but hmm, let me think. Okay, what do you guys frequent in terms of like social media? Honestly, no, I don't have a plan. I never really plan. I just kind of wing things because I'm just that mad, I guess. Hmm. The best way is to wing things. Never know where things will take you unless you fly and then probably cry. Who knows? Oh, that's a good idea, actually, branding on social media. Hmm. Honestly, when I first started my Twitter account in particular, since, well, it's Twitter, we all know how crazy that can be, especially nowadays. I kind of went in with originally as more of a writer before I really started becoming a voice actor. It was more of a writer's profile first, and that went swimmingly. Mm, I kind of started more with as most of you know, I'm more of a Kingdom Hearts fan or Final Fantasy. I'm a huge JRPG fan. So it kind of started formulating from there. I like to talk a lot about my hobbies on top of, well, why would you want to talk only about work? That's boring. That is very boring. And it doesn't really make sense to just talk about work. It's like being in an office. You have to make some things shift around, keeps things on your toes. Hmm. So yeah, I tend to focus a lot more on balancing my hobbies on top of voice work and everything in between. Probably to the point where I look a little bit crazy because of my obsession with some wonderful guy named Zach Fair. I'm sure you guys know who he is if you view my profile enough. Hmm. Discoverability on in Twitch using YouTube. I know a little bit in terms of Twitch versus YouTube. I personally don't get to stream all that often. I streamed for a while back in I think 2020, and then I'm thinking about actually doing it again. And I would say Twitch is a lot more stable compared to YouTube, but I'd say YouTube is a little more user friendly. It's definitely easier to work YouTube than Twitch. That or I just sound like an old person. Either way. Hmm. Let me think what else. Twitch for streaming, highlights on Twitch. Yeah, definitely gotta go for highlights on YouTube. That's those great compilations of the best moments are just the highlight of everything, really. Like I've seen so many different just bloopers, and I personally like to watch Joe Zizha's streams on Fire Emblem, and I like watching his best moments. There's also I still like to watch a lot of Let's Plays on YouTube that are just strictly YouTube, like Chugga Conroy, and I hope you guys did not hear my roommate sneeze. Please forgive me if you do. He's very loud. Of course the sneeze got through. Social media network. Cold DMing, I would say in that case, it's a bit of a weird line. There are some people that really don't mind it, like, I'm personally one, as long as you're not, like, spamming me. or if you have like simple questions or anything, I would imagine it's fine. It doesn't always work for everybody though. There are some people that really hate when you don't actually go into detail about your messages. Like if you start with just hi or how you doing, you're likely not going to get a reply. If you actually go into detail about what you want up front, then I imagine it would be okay, especially for people that, do a lot of work, don't always have time to answer their DMs. I'm very guilty of that, I admit. I'm very bad at answering DMs these days. Like, I think I'm even looking at my Discord right now and I have at least 20 messages I still have to go through. Oops. I'm the worst. Social media is definitely hard to deal with sometimes, especially nowadays, but yeah. Okay, fine, I'm not the worst, but I'm very bad at messages. I really am. Especially when I get a little distracted because on top of all this, I actually also do a full-time job, which I'm hoping to rectify because I hate my full-time job. I like letters in the mail. I'm very traditional, I think. I'm the type that has like 1,000 books on my shelf and still has no time to read them all. Ooh. You can multi-stream? Ooh. Not be getting distracted by all the chat. I'm sorry. Let me think. Does anyone have any particular questions in terms of like how to manage certain social medias? I have some knowledge in Twitter, Instagram. I'm starting to learn. I used to do Facebook, but I really only reserve that for family these days. Oh, several people are typing. That's always a good sign. How did I start off learning? Oh, I actually didn't really learn. I really just kind of did a lot of trial and error to see what works. I kind of treat my social media in a sense of just not like a diary. Don't ever treat it like a diary because oh my gosh, that will go very bad very quickly. It's not therapy. It's not therapy. As much as we're all dealing with, don't treat your social media like therapy. Hmm. Yeah, I kind of just did a lot of trial and error to see what really works for me. I've always been kind of an open book with things. So I have no issue with really talking myself up or talking others up. I especially will talk others up before I talk myself up, trust me. Hmm. Honestly, I think with managing two separate accounts, I have a burner account and I'm never sharing it with anyone because why would I ever do that? It's a burner account for a reason. I think it's easier to really separate yourself if you have more of a second account that you just don't really use except for maybe like writing things down on occasion for yourself, really. I think it works. I don't really use it that often, but I think it works for other people, especially if you can't really separate your own personal life from your business. Otherwise, there's also places you can use, like, say, Tumblr for your craziness, Instagram for just pictures, Twitter for suffrage, I guess. I don't know. Suffrage, wow, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I love Twitter, but I hate where Twitter's going. Let's see. Do you find it best to reserve the social media account to only information directly about your projects and events? Or is someone beneficial to engage with the website as you? Yeah, I personally blend my 2. I can't just talk all business, really. It's good to use for, say, announcing your roles or announcing things that you've been up to, but I think it's a healthy balance to actually also give yourself as well. So, it's I wouldn't say reserve it only for your work. You could also use it to seem human. I know that's definitely something I've noticed a lot with voice actors in particular. We try to be a little more human. Because again, we are just people. Why wouldn't we wanna be ourselves on top of our work? Someone with that let's see. But as someone without a solid independent work output, but who does work with others. Good alternatives to Twitter. Hmm. I'm still figuring that out, but I've heard that there's a few sites going around. Gosh, what is that one that everyone's migrating to these days that's like Twitter, but Mastodon. There it is. Thank you. I haven't tested Mastodon yet. I'm kind of still figuring out Twitter in terms of like, do I want to stop using Twitter as much or do I want to try Mastodon? I don't know. I haven't thought about trying it just yet. I hear it's supposed to be a learning curve, yeah. How'd you do social media on Instagram or TikTok if you're more like a thread person? Mm, I think in terms of Instagram, you can also kind of thread it there. It's not as I think it's a little bit creative because you can only get so many words in terms of Instagram. They at least don't limit you like Twitter does. Like, what is it, 240 characters for bigger accounts and 120 for normal accounts? I think Instagram maxes you out with like 22,000 words, 22,000, 2,200 words. Hmm. TikTok, I'm still figuring out because again, I'm very old. No, I'm not. I'm 28. I'm JRPG old. I'm still kind of figuring out TikTok to be honest. I'm not a huge video person, but I've been finding that it's pretty nice to actually collaborate with everybody. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough to collaborate with people on TikTok. Who knows? Let's see. I thought 28. I'm halfway through 28, so yeah, I'm JRPG old, I guess. A lot of people do think that I'm younger than I am, and I can accept that. I mean, I'll be 20 forever. I probably won't be 20 forever. Well, let me say, the good key to youth, play video games, I guess. Talk about your crushes on your fictional characters. That'll definitely make you feel like a child. Not a child. No, this is healthy. Trust me, it's very healthy. Yeah, share yourselves. Share what you love. Have fun. Be good. Be great. Yeah, childlike, not childish. Tomatoes can be delicious. It depends, though. I can only eat tomatoes if they're salted. Yeah, strictly ketchup, I guess. I don't like tomatoes by themselves, so I'm sorry. Oh, and by the way, if you wanna ask questions like talking in person, you're fine to do that too. I don't wanna be restricted to just a chat if you guys wanna actually, like, physically talk. No worries, sleep well. I feel that. Yes, by all means, talk about your fictional crushes. Again, do you see my profile? Do you see how much I talk about Zack Fair on the regular? And then there's Square Enix, who's literally destroying my wallet at the moment because they decided, hey, let's make Crisis Core Reunion. And we'll strictly release the trailer for that the day after Shakira's birthday. We got her. Is this an open question? Yeah, honestly, it's fine. You can ask whatever you'd like. It doesn't have to be strictly social media. I'm up to talk about anything, really, as long as it's within range and reason. Yeah, I'm up for it. Let's see. Why is Zack Fair so cool? Zack Fair is perfect, not cool. He's perfect. Let's see. I think there's honestly a line with being professional on social media. Let me think. Yeah, I think there's a real weird line with social media professionality. I am not professional by any means, strictly because I have no issue with being open about really anything. So I don't really consider myself a professional, but a lot of people do. So it's a really weird line. I think it's just for lack of 18 plus here. Since I curse, I'm going to say it. Don't be an asshole. It's not that hard. Just don't. That's really the baseline, is just don't be one. Oh, okay. I mean, I curse a lot, so I wasn't sure what the line would be with it. What show are we referring to? There's a lot of shows. Oh, there I think I'm actually going through the line here of what, like, a little indie show that has to do with fire. Are we referring to Defenders of Alodia? Ooh, give me a sec. Oh, toxic positivity. I can't word. Okay. Oh, where to begin with that one? That can go down the line. See, let me think where to start. I know I've definitely had some experiences in the past where I personally have been told that I'm someone that exudes toxic positivity. I don't really know why, to be honest. I live a livelihood where it's like I don't mind being open towards people because I'm someone that knows loneliness pretty well. So why the heck would I want someone else to feel that way? I don't know. It's just it doesn't hurt to be supportive to people, just as long as you're not too heavily positive. If you focus on only the positive, that's a bit insane, if I'm being frank. Because, well, life is not all positive and it's never going to be. And if it is all positive for you, I am very, very happy for you. Because, wow, I wish. I wish. Yeah, exactly. That's the truth there. You have to be realistic about things. Nothing is going to ever be perfect. It doesn't hurt to be optimistic. You have to be realistic with that optimism, though. Otherwise, you look kind of crazy. I'm sorry. I've always been very blunt with those kind of things. Also, you're perfectly fine. A lot of people spell my name wrong. Ooh, let me think. Yes, I have heard of a nice little series called Muscle Maddie. I think I would know. I'm actually one of the coordinators in terms of writing it. And I also have a nice little character that I voiced there named Danny Miller, who's a very, very sweet girl. Hmm. I'm sorry, I'm kind of playing catch up on all the chat. Oh, I remember that episode of The Simpsons. That's one of the only episodes I really remember in like recent memory, though. I haven't watched Simpsons in like a decade. Oh gosh, well, just aging myself again. The Simpsons is like barely older than me. Let's see. Oh, Muscle Maddie. So go look on Twitter. I'm sorry, that's like my easiest way to just promote. Just like go hunt it down on Twitter. It's probably better than I could ever explain it, to be honest. And actually, yeah, there was an event on it last month. I do remember peeping that. That link is not allowed. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Discord. Anyway, if I had $1 for every time I wrote for an indie series, would I have $2? One, two. Does that include my own? Okay, in that case, one, two. In terms of ones that I've actually completed, maybe $3. In terms of in process, probably like $10. I also have written fantasy novels, and I have 4 that are published. Wow, I've not written in a hot minute. Yeah, little known fact, I'm also an author. Thank you. I'm presently getting back into the art of writing. I've been trying very hard to do NaNoWriMo this year, and I at least started a story, so that's a good sign of progression, I suppose. It's about a pirate, and he's black. and he's wonderful. Yes, I'm excited for more stories too. There's definitely some other things I can't wait to share that I have been working on. Like a certain thing that a certain someone in this place does actually know about that I'm not going to say here because it's NDA technically. It's not actually NDA, but I'm still considering an NDA, so I'm not saying it. Anyway, hmm. Any questions that I have missed, feel free to just ping me. I'm kind of just looking and going as I please. Also, let me know if I'm talking too fast because that's I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. Apparently, we all just talk really fast somehow. It's just a force of habit. Like I've told stories about how my speed talking can get me in trouble sometimes. Like, ooh, I lost a job interview once because of that. And it's crazy because then in that job interview they talked more about my speed talking than they actually interviewed me. So that was fantastic. Oh no, it's fine. Jobs come and go. Dreams are forever. Let's see. What platforms are good for promoting if you could list a big 3? Uh, I would say half a year ago it would have been Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I do not know if that's going to change in light of recent events with Twitter, but those are still currently the big 3, since I know a lot of people don't really touch Facebook like that these days because it's Facebook. Hmm. What do you think about people who overshare on NDAs? Oh gosh. So I think about that one recent event about a popular voice actor who shared that they had auditioned for an anime. I'm not going to say who or for what anime because it's not my place to say it. It scares me. It really scares me when people talk so much about their projects because I don't think I could ever have that kind of courage. I think people that actually do it, mm, I think it depends. Like, if you share that you got an NDA and it's maybe your first or second time, yeah, sure, that's fine. It's a big deal for you. Just don't ever go and share what you've actually done. Do not ever show your hand because that is very dangerous and it will get you in trouble with not only the director you just auditioned for, but future directors. Do not do it. It's dangerous and it will probably kill your career a lot faster than you ever could. Yeah. Hmm. Is it smart to let people know that you have a lot of things to look forward to? Um, yes and no. I mean, I kind of I kind of cheat with it to be honest. I have no issue with talking about like, "Oh, I'm actually doing a lot this year and I'm surprised by that." But yeah, uh it's just be mindful of what you're doing. Don't share too much. Again, never show your hand. Because if you share your hand and you share what you're actually doing, that opens up the floodgates for you to end up getting, possibly wrapped up in something involving future directors. Even if you are very sly about it, they can still read into it. Because they can probably read into it a lot better than any of us could. Directors are really good for some reason at that. Oh, Joshua Walters. There's a story. That was a fun time. I straight up with that guy, I hope he's doing okay, but my gosh. Again, I hope he's doing okay on like the scale of I respect anyone in terms of how do I how do I put this? I don't want people to get hurt, but I think people need to really learn what they do before they do it. How do I say this lightly? The situation with one Joshua Walters was a bit complicated. Uh, yeah, I don't even know how to get into details on that, if I'm being very frank. But yeah, just know it was a lot. It was a lot. And it was back in 2021. It was a lot. Hmm. Oh, that's so funny. My roommate was actually playing Splatoon. I think he was Team Water as well. Nope, wait, never mind. No, he was Team Fire because he was upset that Team Water actually lost. But he was also really relieved that Shiver herself didn't win or themselves. I don't know. Did they ever confirm? I'm sorry. I don't keep up very high on Splatoon. Shiver is a she. Okay, cool. Because I kept hearing like she and they, and I don't know. I'm a she they. Yeah, I knew Fry and Big Man were both she and he, respectively. I just wasn't particularly sure on Shiver. She, they, gonna slay. Love it. Let's see. How fine is the line to make satirical clips about auditioning for fictional projects? Do it tastefully. Because, let me think. I know I've definitely seen some people that are really good about making it clean, but still funny. So yeah, just, keep it clean. Don't go too hard on it, otherwise you're gonna probably end up getting yourself into some trouble. It's all in good fun, but yeah, keep it clean. Everything can be tasteful. Oh yeah, that makes sense since, wasn't that actually your player character from the original Splatoon? So it makes sense that it would be a they. Hmm. Let me think. I'm also just kinda scrolling up, so forgive me. Ooh, all the racists came out. Oh, what do you mean? The racists are still here, and that's never fun. Especially because, hi, I'm black. Hey, welcome. What are the top do's and don'ts for you on social media? Well, I mean, we can go back to the topic of don't be an asshole. Uh, okay, a little more elaboration on that. So, I know I think about some people that have just really ruined their careers ahead of time. Like, there are some people that either steal work or they're just racist or underlyingly racist. I see that a lot for some reason these days. Don't harass people. It's not that hard. Underlyingly racist. Let me describe that really. So there is someone on Twitter that I had an altercation with at one point, and they ended up letting something happen that was borderline racist towards me in particular. And they said they essentially just ignored that it happened. They purposely ignored it. That is what being underlyingly racist is. It's you see it, but you don't do anything about it. So that's in the same vein as being racist itself. Yeah, I was in the past told that I was cast a lot because of my skin color, which I think is personally for me, again, as someone that is black, I'm light skinned black. I think I get cast a lot more, and I want people that are darker skinned to get cast more than me. I really do. I think a lot of them deserve it more. Because I remember once reading something that Zendaya in particular said, in some ways, being light skinned black is considered privileged. I mean, I personally don't feel like I'm particularly privileged because, well, I grew up in Southside Chicago and I was never really on the perspective of either race. I was never really on either side in terms of being black or white, in terms of like where I lived and where I resided. So I don't personally feel privileged, but I understand fully where she is coming from with that as someone that is also like light skinned black. So, yeah. Wow, I didn't think I'd dive into racism right here. Oh, well, thank you. That's really all I try to be. I don't think I try to at least be decent. That's the baseline really of being on social media. Just be decent. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be great. If you can just be decent enough and support people if you care about them in any capacity, even if you just want them to be a little more successful, that is really all that it should be. Just be decent. Yes, I agree. Racism is very important to address, especially these days. Like, do you see how many black people get into anime these days? Do you know how uncommon that was about 5 years ago? It was really uncommon. And even more recently, I think about Yoshi P and the whole thing with Final Fantasy characters not having people of color in Final Fantasy 16. Like, I remember reading that as a huge fan of Final Fantasy, and that completely crushed me. Because why? I do not understand why. There are plenty of black people back in the medieval times, and yet we can't have black people in Final Fantasy? I don't get it. Oh, trust me, I have no issue with speaking about it. Another person that would be really good about it is probably Belle. Belle is really good about that. He and I can go on occasional tangents about this. Collab event, yay! I always love working with Belle. Yes, join us. Oh, the new Fire Emblem designs. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. I looked at those character designs and I was like, well, this is already great. I'm already excited. I don't even know who these two characters are yet, but they're already my favorites. I don't care what bad they do or what good they do. I already love them. Yeah, I fully agree. It's something that needs to be talked about, especially these days. Because again, it does not hurt to be decent. It is not hard to be decent. Yeah, I know personally I can speak on it from again, I'm light skinned black, so I can definitely speak on a mixed person perspective of that. It's wild just how disrespectful some people are about this whole subject. It's crazy. And again, it is important on social media. It's a part of this topic of being the best you. Don't be an asshole. That's the shorthand topic. Don't be an asshole. Oh, it definitely is important. Honestly, I'm very glad a lot more people are speaking up about it, and I'm especially glad that some more prolific people like Erin Fitzgerald, for example, is really good about that, and I love it. And I've actually met her in person once. She is phenomenal. Like, oh, I can explain that story. I think it was back when I was 19 going to my second anime convention of all time. It was crazy enough, it was Anime Matsuri back in 2013. She was signing autographs at a point, and I didn't actually know she was getting paid for autographs at the time, and now I understand that concept as well. Like, yeah, voice actors should definitely get money for their autographs because you don't make enough from anime or games. I understand that. That's a whole nother can of worms entirely, though. But yeah, she was very nice enough to give me one for free after me just happily walking up to her asking for one, not knowing at the time. And she was very kind towards me. She really was. And she still is very kind because just look at the things she's done for people of color. Just look at it. She has very openly given up roles that are people of color to people that actually are people of color. And it's a very good thing. And it's Jameson Price has done that as well. And again, I'm so happy to see more of these things happening because it's it really wasn't something that happened 5 years ago. And I don't really think I really processed these things until I got into voice work and just started really paying attention. And everyone should pay attention to these kind of things. Social media is really important about that. It teaches you a lot of things about yourself and just seeing everything in terms of the industry you're thinking of or looking into, really. I hope I didn't say that too quickly. Again, I get very talkative and passionate, and I go very fast. So I hope that was all right. Whew. So passionate it makes me sweat in my own booth. Cool. I think there's a fine line with that too, especially I shouldn't name names, but I think there are some people that should try to learn from their mistakes and be better about it instead of making more mistakes. Like, if you blame everyone else but yourself for things that you have done, you're never going to grow as a person. And that's very dangerous, to be honest. If that makes sense. Yeah, not learning from your mistakes is a really good way to kill your career, especially if you do something that's like truly horrendous. It's always best to like analyze yourself and grow from it rather than just sit in it and just let everything fester around you. It's really is a sense of maturity in a way if you look at yourself that way. Any more questions before I get too diversely passionate again? Wow, I honestly didn't think I would get this passionate about the topic of racism. Then again, like I said, that's one aspect of social media because you see it a lot. You see it a lot. Ooh, more Defenders of Alodia content. So it's in process. That's definitely for sure. I personally don't think I can speak on it, but there is definitely a lot of process going on, and there's so much good content that's coming. Patience, just a little patience. I promise. And that's kind of just with any project that I haven't like thoroughly announced yet. It's kind of all just work in process, and I don't know. I'm kind of one of the last people that can actually speak about it because I just voice. I don't actually write or anything. I mean, I know, but can I really speak on it? Like, am I really allowed to speak on it? Oh, well, okay. We're working on the pilot. I have to redo my lines because I finally figured out this microphone, so I'm going to redo my lines for one. I hear writing's going really well from what I've been peeping, so that's good. Ooh, who's the character I use for my avatar? Yes, it is actually an original character. I actually wrote a post about this, I think back in June. I think it's really just easier for me to model this after my 20-year-old self. So yes, that's why I say I'm gonna be 20 forever, just because I use this avatar. And fun fact, I do actually wear these buns on a pretty regular basis, unless I'm wearing braids. Braids are easier to manage, and they grow my hair. So technically speaking, yes and no with me. What do you think about raising awareness to issues in the industry by having iconic characters make PSAs and social media clips? Oh, that reminds me of the 90s when they had all those ads, to be honest. Like Smokey the Bear? Was that? Wow, I feel old. I'm aging myself really badly, aren't I? I honestly think we should try to do that again. I think it's a little more helpful, especially to people of the modern age, like, oh gosh, Gen X. It would definitely be a lot more beneficial to like make awareness of things like racism. And I think about when Cartoon Network did it that one time. Like, yes, can we have more of this kind of content, please? Because our younger generation really needs it. Otherwise, they're gonna grow up to be just as crazy as we were. I'm a millennial, sorry. And thank you. I clearly peep the internet a lot, it seems. So I'm like, I see all these things and I'm just like, wow, a lot of things have really changed since the early 2000s, hasn't it? How old are we? Oh, the DCAU. Yeah, wow. You're not wrong there. Only you can prevent forests and wildfires. Again, I feel so old just reading that. Didn't they retire Smokey the Bear recently? Like, oh gosh. Oh, dang, now I really feel old. Why would they ever retire someone like him? We still got all these California wildfires that happened. Why would they ever retire him now? Cartoon Network still does a lot of really good PSAs. Like I think about the ones where they were talking about racism, and I think they talked about gay marriage at one point through Steven Universe. Not even just before the episode. I actually think I missed the one on the democratic process though. Maybe that was just out of my time of Cartoon Network. Because again, I'm JRPG old. You got to remember that I'm JRPG old. Although now that I'm really thinking about it, I played Tales of Arise pretty recently, and when you think about the fact that Dohalim is technically the oldest character on the team, if you guys know who Dohalim is. Oh my gosh, Static Shock. Yes. Oh my god. That was one of my favorite shows growing up, and it still is. Bill Lamar's a legend. I'm sorry. Oh, I can go on and on about my favorite voice actors, by the way. Oh my gosh. I would love to see Static Shock come back. I really would. I know there are definitely people that really want that as well, and I see comics that are coming back for him. And he was on Young Justice, and surprisingly, I didn't like him as much on Young Justice. And I like Young Justice, so I'm actually surprised that they didn't do Static as well there. Especially nowadays, like we should be talking more about people like Static, and yet he was just a regular kid in a gang, which is so not Virgil at all, except in like episode 1 of the original, which is still on a technicality. Big Bang Babies. Wow, the fact that that first episode's still so vivid after 18 years. There's a channel for VHS recordings? Oh gosh, VHS. Do you guys remember VHS? Oh jeez. I'm so old. How do you guys think I'm in my early 20s at this point? I'm weird. I'm so mixed about Titanic. Like, I like Leonardo DiCaprio, except he's a bit weird at the moment because I'm older now, and seeing that he likes to leave girls at 25 is just why? Just why? Hey, no, it's not bad to be nostalgic, trust me. We could use more nostalgia. Like, I think about Teen Titans Go and how they keep robbing me. Like, oh gosh, one of those latest episodes of that, and they made it look so beautiful with the Snyder Cut version, and I'm like, we got robbed. We got robbed hard. Look at Nightwing. It looks beautiful. I'm sorry. I could also talk about DC and Marvel for a hot minute too. Yes, exactly. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but they allowed a lot of different subjects and different shows really come to surface during like our era of like the 90s and 2000s for cartoons in general. Like there was Static Shock. Even Teen Titans had some really crazy themes. Gosh, what else was out back then? Um, hmm. Oh, Codename Kids Next Door and holy crap, am I aging myself? What else was out back then? Fairly Odd Parents had some good moments and before I went kind of off the wall. Oh, I never really got past the writing on the wall with that one. I'm like, "Oh, it's not just because he's a robot." And I'm just like, "Oh, dude." They knew what they were doing with the writing on the wall in this one. Oh, actually, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it. My roommate, he's been watching, Justice League recently, like the one from the '90s. Wow. Anyways, it's still really good. It's still really good. And honestly, we've also just kind of been, like, off and on revisiting Batman the Animated Series because of the late, great Kevin Conroy. And my gosh, those shows in particular also have some really amazing themes too. Oh, gosh, Kevin Conroy, what a devastating loss that was. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Again, definitely talk about your hobbies and what you like on social media because that makes you seem a lot more human, trust me. Don't only talk about your work. That's yeah, that's another main topic. Like, don't be an asshole. Talk about your hobbies. Be yourself. Oh, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, that's another great one. Ugh, no, I think about the episode though, the Great Fusili. That yeah, that one. That's like one of the only episodes of that show that ever like made me nervous. It truly made me nervous. Hmm. Oh gosh, X Men. Oh man. Oh god, I haven't watched X Men in years. Oh god, the day that my roommate compared me to Jubilee was weird as heck. I'm like, I'm not that happy. Surprisingly, though, that series does have some really good episodes that still hold up today. Man, a lot of '90s shows really hold up today, don't they? It's so weird. I don't actually know what Sam and Max is. Give me a sec. Sam and Max. Game series. Oh! Oh, I have seen this before. Oh, Sam and Cat. Wow, I Oh, Jeanette McCurdy. She deserves so much. She deserves everything. The end. Oh, Max and Ruby. Gosh, I couldn't stand Ruby as a kid. I really could not. Yes, again, Jeanette deserves everything. Like, oh gosh. I actually have the book on my shelf somewhere, and I started reading it, and I'm just like, yeah, I fully get why this title exists. I really do, and I hate it. Not so much that it exists. I hate her mother. I'm sorry. Mainly because I know those kind of experiences in a much lesser form, but I do know those kind of experiences quite well. And yeah, no, no. That is very true. Good writing is definitely timeless, and it's something I hope to achieve. Wow, it's been an hour now. Impressive. Any more questions, concerns, comments, end games? I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Oh, good. That's good. Well, that reminds me, I have been out of college for 8 years, 9 years. How old am I? Gosh, I only went to college for a semester, so that should very much say me at this point. Not so much because I wasn't smart or anything. I had no money. It was a bad time in my life. I had no money. Anyway, I don't know. I think it is impressive I've done this much outside of college, but I'm still broke, so that should be a good sign. If you can go to school, do it. Just be safe about financial aid and all that because money is horrible. Eh, I don't really remember a ton from my college days, though. Again, it was only for a semester, but I remember distinctly. Anime club was fun. I ate a lot of Pizza Hut because I'm crazy like that, I guess. And I went to one anime convention. I just wasn't that big on the cafeteria food, and I didn't really care much for the meal plan that they had because they didn't have a ton of stuff. And yeah, eat salad. I wish I could enjoy salad. See, I had an incident when I was like 14, I think. No, I was 13, and I went to this one program and they did nothing but make me eat salad. And to this day I can't stomach salad because of it. Back to the subject of social media. Yeah, we should probably stay on topic, shouldn't we? What would you say to someone who isn't much of a social person, who doesn't really engage on social media as much as they should? Hmm. Don't force yourself, because it seems a lot less organic for one. Honestly, I've had a lot of friends that just leave social media for a while and then kind of slowly either ease back or ease back into it. I would say if you could do like maybe one post a day, even if you want to, never force yourself to. Even if it's something small, just like, hey, I woke up today. And hey, we know you woke up today. Doesn't have to be anything major. You can just do something small, even if you don't feel like it on that one day. Don't force yourself to be social if you don't want to be. Heck, you don't even have to post for yourself. You could always just say hi to someone else. Never hurts to be in contact with friends, especially nowadays when we're in a pandemic and we're watching the world slowly burn outside or something like that. I'm so terrible. I'm sorry. I've always been very crass about things. But what kind of salad dressing, though? Again, recommend me a salad because if I ever one day decide I just want to try a salad one day, I don't know if that'll happen in the next 2 years before I hit 30, but it's so crazy. I remember once when I was like 22, I decided I was gonna stop doing anything relating to like sugar or anything by the time I hit 25. That didn't happen. I think it got worse because of everything that came after. Regular Caesar salad with cheese, croutons, and grilled chicken. Oh, that's not bad. Hmm. And no carrots. I'm gonna be special. I would put onions in mine because I like onion. Huh, that sounds nice. Yeah, we truly are in some unprecedented times, aren't we? Oh boy. Maybe one day we'll have something stable? It ain't gonna be normal again, that's for sure. Stable? Then again, what's normal? What does normal even mean? Alright. Any more questions? Comments, concerns, and recommendations? I don't know. I'm running out of things. And we're typing. Guys, don't do interviews in your booth. You will definitely sweat. Oh, you know, I haven't even thought of that. I think it would be fine to do it on TikTok because there are definitely some people that post just normal work promotion things. I know I post like small things involving projects I'm in. I've only done 3 videos, but it doesn't hurt to. I don't imagine so. Then again, I think it depends on the length of the video too. Oh, by the way, for demo reels, don't go more than a minute 30 for anything involving characters. Just piece of advice I always hear. Have you ever made any good project connections strictly through social media communication? I'm yes, actually. I've actually had some interesting times where I've actually booked other roles because of things that I do on social media. And I've also booked a lot of things strictly based on my demo, which is pinned to my profile. It's my animation demo, by the way, that's pinned there. It's a lot more up to date. It's slightly behind now because I've upgraded my microphone and all that, and I've done a lot more since that animation demo. But yeah, it's a good way to actually form project connections with other people is either through like leaving your demo just on your page or say if you book something that's very similar to another character that they might have in mind for you, you might get a shot at it. And I've definitely had that happen a few times. And I know a lot of other people have as well. In terms of actually sticking with your clients too, it kind of falls back to being decent, really. And that's a mutual thing, by the way, because there are some clients I've had that have been really awful. And trust me, I tell you about them because I know what to tell you to avoid. uh, if, say, for example, I had one incident, I think a year ago or so, like right before my birthday. There was someone that wanted me to do a free project, and they were like, "Oh, well, can you have this done tonight?" And I'm just like, "Well, my birthday's tomorrow, and I have a class that's coming up that a few hours before, so I might have to wait until after that class because I also, again, have a day job." And they were very pushy about that, despite them knowing that I couldn't possibly have to wait either before that class, after that class, or the after my birthday because why wouldn't you want to enjoy your own birthday? So yeah, if there's someone that can't actually respect your scheduling or things that you have come up before you actually, start working, red flag. Hmm. Do reels fall under fair use or anything? Uh, Let me think. With reels, most people that actually construct your reels for you in terms of mixing tend to have copyright free music that's involved with it. So in a way, if it's technically, yeah, free use because it's your own voice, it's your own work. And that's why you really try to avoid doing like actual character work lines from say like a TV show or anything. That's why you don't put those in your reels because then it falls under their fair use rather than your own. So yeah, try to avoid doing that. Have your own original script if you can. A lot of people do actually write their scripts, me included. I would never write for myself, but I do write for other people. Let's see. Do you think it's better to disregard drama in the community or be a voice for your own stance regarding it? That is a fine line, to be honest. I think in some senses, I know for sure if it's something that I can personally relate to, like for example, racism, I will speak about it and I will speak against it if you are doing it. Or for example, I remember earlier last month, I think it was. No, it was this month. It was this month. Like right before Bandana came out, actually. Okay, no, that was October. Point aside, when they were talking about how Bandana's former actor, was going through the concept of, oh, I only made 4K in this game when it actually wasn't true, and it kind of started going bad. I remember I spoke up in my own experiences and talked about how, well, the most I've only made from one gig is $600 for a full game. And I'm very open about that kind of thing. I don't, if I've already handled everything in terms of that, yeah, I will speak on it. And funny enough, that concept went both good and bad because it was good for the voice actor side of it because a lot of people understood that. They related to it. However, people that are very absent from that concept will attack you for it. So it's a bit of a dangerous thing to either disregard it or speak up on it. It's kind of a judgment call, really. In terms of it, for me, if it matters to me, I will speak on it because that's really just how I become. Make your own judgment calls, really. And if you do actually decide to post anything relating to said subjects, be mindful of what you say because any small thing that you say wrong will be used against you. That is something I've definitely learned, especially on Twitter. Anything you say can be used against you. Let's see. Speaking of demos, some people might recommend having outside help for their demos over doing that stuff on their own, especially for demos on their social media. Personally, like I said, I would never write my own demo script. As much as I'm confident in my writing skills, I would never write my own demo. So, I think it's better for me personally to have outside help unless you are really confident because there are some people that are really good at their own editing and they will only edit their own demos and maybe other people's, but especially their own. They can edit their own because they know their voice their best. Again, a bit of a judgment call. I would never because I'm not confident enough in those skills to do it on my own. But yeah, I think for other people, it's probably best unless you know what you're doing for sure. Ask for others, especially on the direction side. Like, I know for sure I've personally gone to Kira Buckland for both of my demos in terms of character work, mainly because I know that Kira would give a better perspective than I could on my own work. And thankfully, that's come out very competently. Let's see. Best way to address situations you wish not to comment on. Just don't say anything on it, to be honest. Even if people are like directly coming to you for these kind of things, you will have the right to be silent. It's kind of like how in The Walking Dead and any of the other Telltale games, silence is an option. And no, you're not really required to just, say that you're going to be silent either. You can just be silent. Like, I think about how certain voice actors get into certain, like, major situations, like, for example, with casting purposes, they don't have the well, you don't really have to say anything until you either feel like you're comfortable with saying something or you just can avoid it altogether. Because, well, a lot of bigger voice actors are still under contract with those kind of things, as just one example, if that makes sense at all. My pleasure. You have the right to remain silent. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of crime shows, so my brain's just like, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law." And there's typing, yay. Oh god, you're right, though. Twitter is its own court. Again, like I said, anything that you say that can be, twisted will be. In some of the worst ways and the weirdest ways too is the worst part of that. It's so irritating. Oh, is it? I haven't actually checked, to be honest. This is like my one day off, so I'm just kind of off and on really. I know for sure I posted my Instagram, which I'll share all my socials later because social and all that. Nope, Shakira, don't touch your phone. Don't touch your phone. Oh yeah. And limit yourself to what you actually do on Twitter in terms of like how long you're there. It's healthy to get off the it's healthy to get off every couple of hours or so. And don't doom scroll. We already know the world's suffering. Don't make it worse. Yeah, I feel the same. I was really stuck on Twitter for a hot minute. I think it was up until maybe like midway last year I started slowing down on it, but eh, I don't know. It's kind of just become my work now because I also do social media work for posting for other people, so I kind of have to look at Twitter now. Oh yeah, by the way, unless you know what you're doing, don't post for other people because that can be a bit of a hassle in itself, especially if it's someone that's like total opposite of you in terms of what you work with. Like, say I'm good with characters, someone else can be good with commercials or audiobooks or anything like that. Researching doesn't hurt. Gosh, I should really be doing something besides character work. Yeah, I'll get there. Anyway, any other questions, comments, concerns? Uh, yeah. I know, I feel that. I think it's like 9 o'clock for some people. Me personally, it's 8:19. Yeah. Oh boy. Also, hi, I'm Central Time. How are you guys? Oh, Australia, nice. That's bound to at least be a little bit nicer than the States right now. Oh, my setup. I was kind of hoping this would come about. So, for my microphone, I use a Mic Parts S87, which I just got back in June for my birthday, which that almost didn't happen because it's like $600. But yeah. I mainly got it because maybe like a couple of days before my birthday, my microphone that I had before, which was a Rode NT1A, yeah, that thing burned out really quickly. And I realized like I'm never buying another Rode again because I had two of them die within a year. Interface, I use a solid state Logic 2, which I've had for almost 2 years now, and oh my god, it's one of the best interfaces ever I've ever had. It's so nice. It's very user friendly too, which is definitely a benefit, and it's only $200, so definitely good to invest in. A booth. I would like to have a nice actual booth, but for now I'm in my closet. I do everything in my closet, including presently, which is why I'm sweating bullets here. Let me think. Headphones. I think they're Audio Technicas 7. Let me look up the exact model. Give me a second. I know they're Audio Technicas, but I don't remember what else from there because yeah, my memory's kind of blah. Let me filter from 2021, 2022, 2022. Let's see. Going back towards February. I've bought way too much on Amazon this year because I am lazy. Amazon, you're not being very helpful right now, are you? Ah, here we go. Audio Technica ATH-M50X. And I've had them since October 30th. So I've had them for a year now. My actual software, I use Adobe Audition. I used to use Audacity, but Audacity's kind of gone down the toilet. It's still good for free. It really is. If you can't afford anything, definitely get that for free. And let me think. A lot of people also use Reaper for their recording software. I personally prefer Adobe Audition despite the crap subscription because it's a lot more user friendly. Like Reaper is a one-time payment, but there's a huge learning curve for it, and I don't have the patience. So, let me think. Oh, I hear that those are actually really good. I know eventually I would love to try and upgrade, but for now, I mean, they still work, so why would I switch headphones just yet? I'm not that I don't have money like that anymore. Not from lack of anything, because again, I work full time, but money is so hard to come by when food prices are rising. So, oh right, booth. I record in my closet. I've done pretty much everything in my closet for the past year because sadly I can't afford one of the fancy booths. I am, however, planning to get a PVC booth just to kind of use outside the closet, or say if I'm traveling, just because I'm finally at that point where I can actually travel and record. I'd love advice if you can offer it. I'd love advice. Like, I hear they're a lot sharper in terms of. Yeah, I was gonna say in terms of taking down and putting up. It's definitely gotta be easier than sitting in a tiny closet. Like, I've put a lot of work into this closet, but oh boy. Oh boy, does it take noise off and on, really. Mainly because my roommate's room is next door and he can be kinda loud, so yeah. Oh, that's right! He does have a tutorial. Wow, I haven't checked that website in a hot minute. Oh, yes, especially definitely look at other people that are a lot more prolific if you need advice in terms of, like, building or just getting your footing in terms of voice work. People like D. Bradley Baker, yeah, amazing. Very, very solid work in terms of not even just, like, actual voice work. A lot of prolific voice actors are pretty good about that, just giving wholesome advice. I love June. I love June so much. Yeah, my closet sadly doesn't cancel out the air conditioner either. It's gotten decent about certain noises, but, I still get some occasional reverb, but I think it's mainly because of, it is a tiny space. So, of course, it'll pick up noise easier. It's good in some cases. It also helps if you can kinda edit around it, which is kind of how I've been cheating my way around it. Like, if you can at least cut down the background noise with, like, silencing in Adobe Audition, for example, then it's a lot easier to work with. But I sadly do live in an apartment, so I'm stuck in a closet. D. Bradley Baker voicing anything is just amazing. Like, I still think about Star Wars, how he just voices all the clones and they all somehow sound different. And apparently he did that in his closet too, which is even crazier. I'm like, I could only dream. See, now I'm just looking at my dang closet. Man, Frank Welker is still holding on really strong with those creature noises too. In the cold vacuum of space. I mean, at least it'll be quiet forever. Am I gonna look up in the sky and just see a bunch of Among Us characters flying past if I'm in the vacuum of space? Well, you mentioned space, so of course I was gonna bring up Among Us at some point because everyone does, and I don't know why. Because I don't actually like that game. I'm just saying it. Cartoon All Stars to the rescue. It's got me thinking about Nicktoons Unite. Yeah. Well, again, aging myself. My gosh. Oh, the amount of memes that there are for that. Mary Mother of Roommate yelling. Gosh, sorry. Anyways, question, comments, concerns of the amount of things I can say to go with that flow is just so limited. Oh. Oh, yay, actual questions. Okay, let me see. Not me stopping for a second to check my social media. See what I mean? Anyway, what's my dream role? Oh, my dream role. Honestly, I have more of a dream franchise than a dream role. Um, my dream role or franchise would actually be voicing in Kingdom Hearts, especially now that they gave us the option of NCPs. NCPs? Gosh, is this Tron now? NPCs is what I wanted to say because I'm so great when it comes to, words. Anyway, but yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 definitely gave me that option. Plus, I remember being really thrilled when Erica Harlacher in particular was announcing her role for that game. So yeah, it feels so possible now just looking at Kingdom Hearts. And like, side note to that actually, it's also a dream of mine to personally have an NPC that says thank you to Sora because, well, he is one of my all-time favorite characters, and Kingdom Hearts is a very important series to me. So to be able to thank my favorite character in the game for the reason of my being, yeah, that's a real dream of mine. Let's see. Do I deal with any type of anxiety? I have anxiety. I literally do have anxiety when it comes to voice acting or having an online presence. Uh, Imposter syndrome sadly gets everyone. Funny enough, I was thinking about that a couple of days ago. I not even just a couple of days ago. I thought about it earlier today. What am I saying? Oh boy. So, in terms of that, I would say one of the best ways to deal with that lingering imposter syndrome, even if you're looking at yourself and realizing, wow, I do a lot, and it still somehow doesn't feel like enough. It's kind of just stepping back and reflecting a bit. Like, have you gotten one thing that you've gotten done that you wanted to during the year? Mission accomplished. Can you do more? Sure, anyone can. It's kind of just really stepping back and looking at the smaller things that you have done, because eventually they will build up into something bigger. Like, I think about the way that I was a year ago. Around this time, I was doing something that I thought was important to me that kind of went awry, only to end up within 6 months doing even bigger things. Like, I upgraded my setup, I got a new microphone. Heck, I was in a Gamescom trailer, and that's definitely something I never dreamed I would even say this early in my career. I thought I would wait at least another couple of years before I started seeing myself, like, on anything game related. So, everything is a step. That's really all you have to think about to kind of bypass that anxiety a little. Think about what you've already done and think about a little how you can actually improve it over the time that you have. Don't think too hard about the little things, if that helps at all. That made me a little bit anxious to say, if I'm being honest. My pleasure. Again, yeah, it made me a little anxious thinking of how to say that correctly. Oh, the anime eyes. I think Erica Harlacher was also a character that was in Olympus Coliseum at the beginning and getting saved by Sora. And she said that was probably her favorite part. Ah, same. Ooh, still sweating. Great. Oh, yeah. Keep water in your booth all the time. Should have probably gotten a fresh one, but water is water, so. Oh, yeah, now that I think about it, another dream franchise. Wouldn't it be cool to be in One Piece? I think about all these different characters that are in One Piece, and it would just be fun. That's just another thought. Let's see. Would that also help if we lost opportunities or contacts in the past year? Honestly, yeah. It's still very possible to achieve a lot of things, even with clients and contacts that have just kind of disappeared. Because a lot of them are also migrating over, especially with Twitter going haywire. Funny enough, I think one of my friends actually just messaged me like, "Wait, do I have you on Instagram? Because Twitter's kind of going crazy." And I'm like, I don't know. Probably. Oh, let's see. Huh, you are an anime voice actor unless you've been in One Piece. Man, I would love a chance to be in One Piece. I mean, to be honest, I haven't been in any like Funimation or Crunchyroll anime yet. I would love that. I mean, I'm still working on the remote setup though, so I'm like, it's an idea. I think I've done a lot of things that could potentially get me there. But oh boy, I gotta fix my setup first. Genshin also is one that a lot of people are really getting into, especially for NPCs or Walla, or even just some bigger characters. I think I'd love to be in Genshin too, actually. No one will ever be able to doubt my talent. I showed up as person 42 in One Piece. Just person 42, huh? There's the real game of life. I don't live anywhere near LA. Honestly, it's gotten pretty good with the people that are remote too, because I've seen plenty of people overseas that get into it too. Honestly, if I can book one thing huge like that while being remote, I would feel accomplished for the rest of my life. Because I mean, I live in Iowa of all places. I live in Iowa. It's so dang tiny here. There's nothing out here really. So to book something remotely like that would just be an accomplishment in itself. Yes, you all know where I live now. Please don't tell anyone. Do I have any tips on making connections in this industry? Uh, again, one point of that, don't be an asshole. That really is just the root of a lot of things. I would say a little more thoroughly. It's really just talking to people. It really is just talking to people sometimes. I won't say it's not hard because it's definitely hard. I am terrible at cold calling, for instance. It's really just how do I explain this? How do I explain this? Hmm. I would say for sure it's talking to the right people because you definitely don't want to just jump right to directors. If you make friends that are already in the industry, like say other voice actors that have already done anime or games, it makes it a little bit easier for you to actually figure out what you need to do to get to those places because you don't jump right in. Heck, I've been doing this for 4 years technically, and I only just got into that position in February. Yeah, February. So yeah, it takes some work. But really, at the root of it is just talking to people and becoming friends if you can organically, mind you, with the right people. They can help you with figuring out how to actually get to a better place. As a writer, what made you look into it? Actually, I was a writer well before I was ever voice acting. I really started writing when I was about 14 years old. I always made stories when I was a kid, but I really decided I wanted to be a writer at 14. 14 seems to be the root of a lot of my things because I was also touching on the idea of voice work at 14. But yeah, I just kind of look back at old stories I wrote as a kid and decided maybe I should try this again. And I've been writing off and on ever since. I've published 4 books, like I said, since then. I haven't written a full on novel since 2018. And I'm hoping to fix that this year or next year, hopefully, because I've already started planning ideas. It's really just doing. Publishing, however, that's a whole nother concept. And that's a lot more complicated than just writing. And yes, there are a ton of cornfields in Iowa. Heck, I'm actually right across from cornfields if I'm being honest. Short stories and poems are actually pretty good to work with too, just because it's less pressure than a full on novel. And it's not a saturated field like, say, fantasy novels. Hoo a mistake of me. Ooh, okay. Sorry, I'm also trying to cool down in the booth. Because I can't turn on my mini fan because it'll mess with the audio, and I don't wanna do that. It's a little weird to be hot in November, by the way, especially when it just snowed yesterday. Like, why? Hmm. Now that I think about it, if you do writing, or if you do anything that's creative, like, say, drawing or, say, editing or just kind of anything that can go alongside with anything relating to voice work, utilize it. I know for sure since I did have experience as a writer first, I was open a lot more to criticism because I published, and I was torn down pretty quickly with my writing before I started figuring out what I liked with it. But it's really good for character study, it really is. Because if you do things like writing or art first, you start to analyze your characters a lot better. And, ooh, if you can too, if you book anything, ask as much as you can about your character before you start recording, because it will definitely help you in the long run to know who you're voicing before you start voicing it. Mini advice. Whew, staying cool in here is not easy. Questions, comments, concerns? I run out of things to say with this particular phrase. Oh god, indeed. Forgive me, my roommate has a voice that booms. Oh yeah, and if you can, don't have thin walls. Or at least know how to proof your walls a little better than I can. Eventually. Oh. Have you had trouble getting into a zone, like figuring out all the details that can make your performance unique and or have different takes from each other? Um, yes and no, actually. In terms of characters, for some reason, I seem to book a lot of either really serious characters that are mommy material for some reason. Like, for some reason, I book a lot of people that are 30 and older, and I don't know why, because I'm not 30 yet, or teenagers. There's really no in between. In terms of figuring out how to make the performance unique, uh, I would really say the best way to go about that is to just, again, ask what your character's like. Like, certain lines can be read in different emotions or tones. Anything can be interpreted in any different way, really. The hardest part in terms of finding different takes is really just figuring out, like, what do you think they want? Don't think too hard about it, but what do you think they want? Because you can do one that's for yourself and one that you feel like a client would actually want to look into. Unless you're like me and you're crazy enough to think you can only do one and just send it off. I've done that a handful of times with auditions. I just send one and done. I hear it's a lot better to do one. But, if you feel like you can interpret it differently or have, like, different pitch or tone, make use of it. That's definitely something I've been told in a class recently. Like, only send one unless you really feel like you can do something completely different from what you did the first time. So, again, yes and no. I don't usually have a ton of trouble in terms of, like, a one and done thing, if that makes sense at all. I hope that didn't sound arrogant, my gosh. A fine take indeed. And I did it all in one take. What do you know? What's a fun improvisation? Honestly, we probably could wrap up soon just because it's going on 2 hours. And I imagine for some people it's probably dinner time or sleep time or day job time, depending on where you reside. Probably start finalizing some things, I imagine. Do I always voice characters at a certain distance from my microphone or change proximity depending on a rule scene? I'm still figuring out how to move it away when I'm yelling. So I kind of just turn down the gain if I'm yelling. Honestly, in terms of, like, certain distance, if they're going to be loud, either turn down your gain or push your microphone back because it will peak, and it will not hesitate to peak, even if you have a really pristine microphone like the I don't know, like the U87 or something, if you somehow can afford a U87. In terms of, like, if I'm talking normally like this, I have a very textured voice, so I try to, avoid being too close to my microphone because, again, it will either peak or it will go through my nose, and there was no in between with that. I don't know if you can tell just by listening, but, I talk through my nose at times, and I don't know why, it just happens. And again, now that I'm thinking about it, talking through your nose can have some benefits because then you can start doing things like this. Just getting all nasally with it. Let's see. Honestly, yeah, that was my issue with some of my older recordings is it would sound muddy because it was a lot closer, which is kinda how I rearranged my whole setup, and now my microphone's at a decent distance, like, I know for sure one of my friends taught me, if you can, just put your index finger and your thumb, pull them apart, then close your index finger, put your thumb, put your pinky. If you touch your pop filter, you're too close. Let's see. How do I adjust the gain to neither peak nor be too quiet? Uh, I kinda just turn on down the gain on my interface in terms of yelling. That's why I like my SSL too. It's a lot easier to just turn down the gain and then fix it in post. I actually do adjust it in post to the equalize, I think to -4? So I hear you're supposed to leave it at least, -12 for too quiet and then maybe -4 to 3 for, like, too loud. Yeah, it really does depend on your setup too. Like, for instance, again, I'm in a condensed area, so I kinda have to change it up and make it a little less, condensed since, again, closet. I mean, I'm handling it at least decently, I imagine I've been booking things. But yeah, it really does depend on your space too. -18 peak. I have heard that one too. I think I mostly see, like, -12 peak is what it can be before it actually starts to sound like it's peaking. However, I have had some experiences in my own recordings where I once hit it at, like, -3 and it didn't even peak, which was pretty odd. So, yeah, it really does depend on your setup too. Audio equalization is really weird now that I'm really just trying to put all the pieces together with that. And there's a cat outside. Okay. Apparently my cat Deku says hello. Yeah, he walked up to the door and just made one sound and then he left. Honestly, with clipping, I would say that the best thing to do is probably have, like, isotope 9 8 or 9. Some people have 10, like, I don't know how you have 10 already, but yeah, 8 or 9 is pretty good about handling, say, clicks or clipping. I think I have 9. Yeah, I have 9. I really only use it for the clicks, though I never touch it for clipping. I just edit my own clips. Like, only if I need to, like, I know you're not supposed to, like, edit your auditions, and you definitely still shouldn't. Like, if you can get it as raw as possible without touching, like, say, noise cancellation, it's for the better in the long run, because it shows what your setup is actually like. I know I'm a mixed bag with that because sometimes I do end up getting white noise because, again, apartment, white noise happens no matter how much you try to clean this out, and it's a sad truth with an apartment, you will hear white noise no matter what you do. Ooh, I was actually hoping that question would come up at some point. Um, truthfully, I started with fan dubs. I've been doing fan dubs off and on since I was 14. That's how I figured out my footing. It's pardon me. Pardon you too, roommate. Anyways, uh yes, it's definitely something that you can do for fun. However, if you touch fan dubs, it can be considered a copyright and in some ways theft, quote unquote, just because it is something that's copyrighted. So honestly, it doesn't really ruin your career because there are a lot of people that started building based on fan dubs like I won't name any names because I don't imagine they'd want to be named. But I know a lot of people have actually done fan dubs in the past and they just moved away from it. They either private them or unupload them or heck, I can't name one person that does though. I know Amanda Lee actually is really good about that. She literally made her living on doing song covers, but she makes her own music essentially for it. And now she's in bigger things. Actually, now that I think about it, Nathan Sharp is pretty good about that too, but he recently just moved away from doing song covers and he's doing his own original work now. So it's a really weird line. It's like you can but shouldn't. I know the one person and I kind of disagree with that statement still. Anyway, yeah, I know a lot of well-known voice actors have done it at some point and they just don't anymore because of that potential of being copyrighted. It's definitely something you shouldn't do. Yeah, same. I was really happy about that actually. Yeah, I know Kira Buckland's really upfront about a lot of things that she does and has done, which I really love. And it's honestly kind of why I have no issue with being honest about things. Seeing people like her and Sean Chiplock that are just really open and honest about what they do. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It's just knowing how to use it. Yeah, you're right. Some fan dubs actually can down the line help you. Funny enough. So again, it's a really weird line that I'm still trying to figure out the real answer to, but it can but shouldn't. That's really all I can say. It's just can but shouldn't. God, copyright's so weird. Whew. Okay. I'm sorry. I get really hot, so I just go a little bit silent and just fan myself. Forgive me. The pity of a closet indeed. It burns us as burns us. Oh yeah, we are almost at 2 hours. Maybe it's about time to start wrapping up. Oh, can we get canceled for being machinima actors? I personally didn't ever touch machinima, but I don't imagine so. I mean, think about the fact that a lot of people at Rooster Teeth and Team Four Star especially, they don't really they got a lot better about that. It's so again, it's such a weird line with copyright. I don't really know the answer. I don't know the answer. It's so weird. What's the secret code? Yeah, definitely. Just don't put it on your resume. Never put a fandom on your resume. It will definitely come back to haunt you. Oh, and again, that goes back to the whole demo rule thing. Don't put other people's content in there unless it's something that was written specifically for your demo. Like, don't take from TV shows or video games. Make it your own. I can't really think of things that are, in terms of things that are really weirdly skewed, like, anything the Team 4-Star does or FMO and all that. It's such a weird line, like, some people can, but yeah, copyright's really weird. Copyright is really weird. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. Don't put stuff that you haven't actually announced yet on your resume. One way to actually cheat with that, if you do actually get something that you have on NDA, make a separate resume. Put the stuff that you haven't released yet on that resume, and then update it as you actually can announce them for your main resume. A face value one and then an NDA one. That's my method, at least. I have a separate one for things I can't announce yet. It's just easier to maintain. Which reminds me, I need to update my resume. Cool. Oh yeah, and update your stuff regularly. I'm guilty of that. I have not updated my website in a hot minute, and that's like the only thing I really need to update is my website. Oops, that's what happens when you work full time, I guess. You forget. But anyway, we just hit 2 hours, so maybe we can do any final questions, comments, concerns, or anything in between, for lack thereof words. Because again, I that phrase throws me. Throw me a bone. Do, do, do. Okay. So many messages. I gotta get better about that. I never really know what to say when I just go silent. I'm sorry. I can talk for a while, but different when you're kind of talking to yourself, though, right? In a way. In a way. Yeah, that's the best way to be is just talk to yourself. That's how you get your best ideas. Who better to listen to than yourself? Oh, wow. Hmm. Yeah, I really did talk about a lot of different things. Surprisingly managed to stay on topic for a hot minute, though. And thank you. How many auditions do I usually do a week? Oh boy. Um, not a ton, to be honest. I've done a lot less this year, sadly, because my whole job situation. So I'm actually amazed at how much I've really gotten to announce this year with how few auditions I really get to do each week. I'd say I maybe do, if I'm lucky, like 5 a week. Yeah, a week. That's kinda sad to think about. I used to do, like, at least 20 a week. The percentage of cast versus reject. Uh, mm, I'd say for every 10 that I do for auditions, I book maybe 1, if I'm lucky. But again, that's considering that I don't do a ton of auditions. Literally, I can say a lot of the work I've done and gotten to announce this year, most of it has been mostly through recommendation, which is something I never imagined would happen, but I'm fortunate for it. Do I ever find myself remotely discouraged due to rejection? Uh, yes, actually. I know there are some things that I have auditioned for pretty recently that I'm not going to speak heavily on, but sometimes when it just goes silent, you start to realize either you didn't get it or you can't actually say anything in terms of that. So it can be a little bit discouraging. At the same time, my friend Josh Portillo, he recently made a tweet about the concept of rejection. And oh boy, a lot of people surprisingly want rejection emails. I am not one of those people. I don't like that to ruin my day, especially if it's something I really wanted to get. I don't like the idea of like reading a rejection and I remember once I even got it once where they went into detail about why I didn't get that role, and I was beyond angry, so much that I just didn't even look at it again. I deleted it. It's a weird thing to be rejected that kind of way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, why would you wanna go out of your way to tell me exactly why I didn't get this role? Like, who has time? Who has time? I mean, I can get the idea of wanting closure, but I don't really like the idea of it. Like, I agree with a lot of people that are just like, "Ghost me." That way I don't have to think about it as hard. And then there's me that's just like, "Ghost me until it's something I actually want, then tell me. No, don't tell me, actually. Let me suffer for it anyway." Yeah, exactly. Now here's a full list of reasons why you weren't right for it, and we'll do it in a full ass paragraph too. Just nah. Nah, man. I don't like full on paragraphs about why I didn't get a role. Like, that's a real easy way to turn me off as a casting director for any project, don't ever do that. Yeah, honestly, I if it's something I really care about, then I don't mind either, like, getting a rejection notice in that sense, like, sure, I don't mind that. Otherwise, I wait for the casting announcement, 'cause at least then I'll see, like, "Oh, maybe this is why I didn't get it because I didn't do this correctly, or I didn't do something like that they didn't like." Or maybe sometimes they just you can be perfect for a role. You can be perfect for anything you do, and you still don't get it. Because 'Cause I've had that happen once. I auditioned for something once 3 times, and the 3rd time they said it was great, it was perfect, and I still didn't get it. So, yeah, sometimes people just like you, but they don't want you. Oof. I think it's especially bad when it's, like, the most minute of things, like, say, a pronunciation of a word. Like, especially for fantasy-related ones, like, I'm all about fantasy, but I make my own interpretation of a word if I don't actually know what it's supposed to sound like. And I remember once someone rejected me for that, so that was really weird. I'm like, "But you didn't even say how to pronounce it correctly. You just assumed we'd know." Yeah, that's a bit of a red flag too. It's like, as a writer, I always read the description. So, if I see typos, a lot of typos, or not enough information, yeah, no, not okay. Actually, yeah, that's another concept too. It's just like, if you have an accent, try to maintain. It can be a bit of a hassle. Like, I suck with certain accents. Like, I am terrible at British accents, but I can do Irish just fine for some reason. And also, don't make it a caricature if you can't do an accent. Don't embarrass yourself. Louis Paul's on 19 was too disinterested. Oh boy. Oh, some casting director shouldn't be casting. Yeah, that was something that happened in one that I did. Just like, oh, you didn't read this interestingly enough. Try it again. I'll wait. Just, sure. Oh, that time was perfect. Nope, not for you. I don't know. I think my Brooklyn accents just kind of jump right into being Harley Quinn, so it's a weird concept. Apparently, Chicagoans have accents. I didn't realize that, but I also realized after I started voice acting, we have really strong syllables like K's and S's, which ironically, I have both of those in my name. It's like there's some things you really don't realize until after you start doing something that's relating to it. Like with the speed talking. I don't know until I'm doing commercial classes, like, oh, you're talking really fast. Like, am I? This is how I've always talked. Yeah, I do hear that people in New York have really hard tones. And I guess Chicagoans have really angry tones. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like total opposites. Combination of Australian and American. Is it like a lighter version of Australian then? Because I think about, for example, Vanille in Final Fantasy 13, how sometimes the accent just goes away. It's okay. The states have all kinds of different accents. Some things you don't even really know are accents. It's so weird. The states are weird. New England. I'm trying to think of how a New England accent sounds because I know I've heard Northern English and I've also heard Cockney. So I've also heard Japanese versions of the Japanese con. I can't even word anymore because I'm laughing. The Japanese version of Cockney and Kansai accents. Oh, that's accurate. Talking really fast without sounding all muttery or hard to understand. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of me, but sometimes I just trip. Like sometimes my brain goes a little faster than my mouth, so it just comes out like eh. Knowing what section that comes originally. Yeah, a lot of voice acting does become kind of neutral and a little nuanced, even, especially if you're reading for characters. Then you just start to tone it down, kind of, without even trying. Because then you can go from how I'm talking presently to just, oh, but why in the world would we do something like that? I don't know why, but when you do voice work, it just smooths out for some reason. The worst part is I didn't even try. I just made it up off my head and it kind of happened. I don't know why. It just smooths out whenever you're doing voice work for some reason. So that's kind of my issue with being in Iowa because I live like I grew up a state over, so I come here and there's a lot of people with either country accents or they talk similar to how I am because some of them are from Chicago too, and yeah, accents are still accents no matter where you go, I guess. How does a commercial scare you so bad that your accent goes away? I'm trying to kind of go with myself. That's like scaring the black out of me. Oh no, I know the power of commercials, and I also know I can't book them because I don't know the power of commercials at the same exact time. Oh, gosh, I've seen very few. Oh, we specifically want a Midwestern person. Oh, hey, that's me. Oh, you're not Midwestern enough. I got that once too, actually, now that I think about it. Like, oh, you're not Midwestern enough. And I'm like, I'm literally from Chicago. How am I not Midwestern enough? I'm directly Midwestern. That was one of the most hilarious things I had ever heard. Just how? How does that happen? Oh my gosh, yes. I'm waiting for that. I really am. Just let me have one place, just one call where they specifically want a Chicago accent that is not urban. Because I don't even get the concept of being urban. I really don't. There is no such thing as an urban accent. Oh God, a farmer. Why? Just specifically a farmer. They better head to Kentucky then. Everyone in the Midwest equals farmer. Yeah, never in 1,000 years would I ever be a farmer. Yeah, there are such thing as rural accents, but strictly urban, they just want how do I describe this? They want specifically Barrett Wallace when they think urban. Kitty. Or on the spectrum as well. Tiffany Haddish? That's another form of urban, quote unquote urban. Wow, the concept of urban is just so askew these days now that I'm really thinking about it. And Deku is back. Kind of southern person to period drama actor. I mean, do you tend to talk like this while also being a bit southern? That little bit of charm in your, in your pretty. Oh gosh, no kidding. Join us next time as we discuss the semantics of the word urban and how it's next to impossible to truly understand it. The concept of urban is so askew. That is completely fair. Whew, and now it has been an hour and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Time is great. Time is great. I don't know the concept of time anymore. That's what happens when you work full time. Don't do it. Where's the lie? Time flies when you're overworked. Me, every day of my life. I remember there was once this manga that I was told about recently where one of the characters just died from overworking right at her desk, and I think we were about the same age, funny enough. I'm just like, oh, well, that's like a perfect mirror of how I imagined I'd go. And then she somehow came back to life and just didn't have a heartbeat, but she had a body. And I'm like, wow, I guess you can't die of a heart attack that way. Oh, it's I don't know if I how do I it's a weird one. It's one of these ones that I heard about that where the guy's getting haunted by a bunch of girls, and one of the girls just happens to be someone that worked at his office that died and actually owned the company, but she's again in her like her 20s. So yeah, I'm very picky about my isekais. Like, uh, I watched Mushoku Tensei. I I want to watch ReZero, but I was told about the bunny scene, and that's more than enough to not want to watch it. um, Konosuba is another one I don't mind watching because it's funny. Um, Gosh, what other isekais have I watched? Oh, right, Reincarnated as a Slime is a good one. And I mean, I sadly know how to imitate Rimuru just fine because I'm insane. I don't know. I can only do impressions when they're anime characters and nothing else. Okay, no, that's not entirely true. I can do Sora just fine too. Oh, Escaflowne! That's another one I like. Oh, and I guess Inuyasha counts as as an isekai in a way. Uncle from Another World. Have I heard of this? Hmm. I've watched 2 seasons of Overlord, and I don't know, I just can't really link back to it. Oh, Skeleton Knight's another one I watched recently. Okay, I've watched a lot more isekai than I thought, I guess. I'm also writing an isekai if that helps. Page Oh, I love the Page Master. Ooh, self-aware romance shoujo? Like, what's a good one? I know Fruits Basket is definitely my favorite shoujo anime. I would imagine that's kind of self-aware. Then there's ones like, Nana's a pretty good one actually, but that's a lot more mature. Love is War is a good one. I gotta watch season 3. Romantic Killer I've been hearing is really good. Oh yeah, Rising of the Shield Hero. Oh man, I watched in the dub, so I haven't really found the motivation to want to go watch season 2 yet because of very sad reasons, which I'm sure you're all aware of that have watched. Rising of the Shield Hero, so I just can't motivate myself to watch season 2 right now. Bye, Zach. Cardcaptor Sakura is a really good one. That's one of my favorite shows. Gosh, I love that show. Yeah, that's my reasoning too. It's like I know Stephen Foo's a great actor because I watched him in the case study of Vanitas, and I know I love his Noe voice, so I know he'd be a really great now for me. But I I don't know. I just can't bring myself to do it. I'd be too sad. I can't do it. Yeah, just it's been a struggle for me to do anything relating to Billy Kamess these days because I'm just too sad now. Like I haven't even wanted to touch Fire Emblem Three Houses, the sequel for Three Hopes. I haven't wanted to, just knowing that that's his last one of his last roles. I can't do it, and it sucks because I really want to because I look forward to that game, but I just haven't. Gosh, we're getting all kinds of sadness right now. Yeah, I haven't. No, I'm gonna do one more because I remember I've been thinking about watching Promare again too. I had the steelbook version of it, and I thought about watching it again recently for the first time since everything that's happened, and I don't know. It's still gonna be good. I imagine it's gonna be sad. Oh gosh, yeah, I understand. That's a little too on the nose. Actually, he died in my very first playthrough too, for in the time skip. But then again, I was also playing with the golden deer, so a lot of characters died. So yeah, I've only played through golden deer and blue lions, so I'm currently on black eagles and just haven't touched the game because I'm too busy. And maybe this time. Oh, my feelings. I did not expect to get into them today. Oh gosh, I remember when I was playing Three Houses for the first time, and I remember when I finally did get to the time skip, and a certain part happens, and there's a certain archer boy that's really sweet that shows up randomly to try and kill me, and I refuse to let him die. So I'm just like, no, not again. Don't go anywhere. I still think back to Gundam Build, like the original Gundam Build fighters. I still remember thinking about the dub and how I'm like, I didn't actually know there was a dub. I guess I can be ragey after all. It's like, granted, I can do a really good ragey voice, but like, his voice is so deep that I'm not used to it. Oh, did they? Huh? Did not know that actually. Okay, maybe it's about time to start wrapping up because it's 9:30 here. All right, any more last minute comments, concerns, questions, feelings? I'm definitely in my feelings now. I didn't expect to end this on Billy Commits. That's definitely for sure. Yeah, like, oh, that is definitely the last place I expected to finish this. Okay, we'll do. Ooh, favorite ice cream. See, I'm a weirdo. My favorite flavor is French vanilla. I'm so ordinary. Hmm. Vanilla is underrated. French vanilla is where it's at, though. Really, though, it makes me sound so ordinary. Oh, and I'm also weird because I hate chocolate ice cream, but a lot of people think I'm weird for that, and I'm like, I don't mind chocolate itself, but chocolate ice cream has a very weird taste. Absolutely. Chocolate milkshakes are fine. It's chocolate ice cream that's weird. Yeah, it really is its own, like, really distinct flavor, and I don't know why it's so different in ice cream form. Not even milkshakes. Milkshakes are fine because it's blended nicely depending on whoever makes it. But yeah, chocolate ice cream is weird. I don't know why. I don't like the taste of it. It feels so artificial, which is so ironic to say that, but yes, it's artificial. And now that I'm thinking about it, there are those people that like mint, and I'm like, I don't know. I've never tried mint flavored ice cream. I like mint flavoring, but I've never tried mint flavored ice cream. Or mint chocolate chip is what it is. Milkshake fl chocolate milkshake flavored chocolate ice cream. Hmm. Honestly, maybe? Well, cookies and cream is really good too. Cookies and cream, I kinda like a good orange sherbet on a hot day. Hmm. Although that's gotta be on occasion too because it loses the taste otherwise. It's gotta be specifically on a hot day in the right temperature, and not that often. And now that I think about it, I have mochi ice cream in my fridge. I think that's also French vanilla. Ooh. Uh, I've seen that. I don't know the taste of it. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I think I am starting to crave ice cream now, actually. But then again, I've been in a hot booth for 2 hours. I think I need something to warm me up, to bring me down a little. Warm me up. Why would I wanna be warmer? Gosh, jeez. Can I get any warmer in this booth? Actually, yeah, I probably could if my computer were in here too, but yeah. Alright, I will take one more question, whoever gets it first, and then we'll probably end things off. I have a lot of messages, and that is what happens when you leave your social media for a few hours, you get a bunch of messages. Oh, I feel that. I don't miss those days, I admit. Putting the blanket over your head. No, it's fine. I mean, yeah, it's more of a comment either way. It's okay. Eventually. That feeling when you look up briefly and hear Markiplier. Oh. Quick! What's the number for 911? How would I know? Oh gosh. It's alright, it happens. It's been a long night anyway. Sorry, one of the movies of my childhood is The Little Rascals, so I just naturally jump to that one if I see the number for 911. That or I think of, Scott Pilgrim's whole, like what's the website for Amazon.ca? Amazon.ca. Aw, it's alright. Trust me, there will be plenty of other events. I know I'm part of one that's coming up on December 1st, if it helps. Yes, I'm going to very shamelessly promo. And yeah, there are also playbacks later on. Oh, goodness. Give me the number for 911. I mean, I guess that was technically a question, and I just responded with a childhood movie, so. Hmm. How about one more voice acting question, if there's anything, and then we'll end it for sure. I'm sorry, I'm having fun. Yes, a real question, I guess. Whoop, whoopsie, so gets it. All right. Okay, what makes good practice on tone? A little more specifically in terms of toning? Like, in terms of just, like, what do you do to actually get to a decent tone? Sorry, I'm a writer, I like to be a little specific. Oh, by changing your pitch. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Honestly, in terms of changing pitches, I'm a little bit limited with it just because I have a very mid-range tone to begin with. So I can either go really, really low, kind of like this in my more boyish tones, or even slightly lower than that, where I'm doing a lot more of like momish characters. Otherwise, I just get really high pitched like this, and I just kind of settle a lot more until it gets a little comfortable without actually hurting. So, I would say the best way is really just playing with it. You have to kind of just get to the point where it feels comfortable. I also have a bit of a singing background, so it helps a little with me figuring out where to stop. Watch it, toe boy. Yeah, it's kind of just practicing and seeing how far you can go, either up or down, without it hurting you. For those of you without a singing background, because again, not everyone does. Some people just don't. That's definitely the best method. Is just to see how far up or how low you can go, and see how far it goes without it hurting. And you also have to see if you can just maintain it, which that comes with practice too. Is really just doing it enough. Which is kind of how I got stuck in a lower regimen too. Is probably why I book a lot of boys or serious roles, because I just kind of get stuck in my low position. Yeah, basically, if you start to feel it in your throat or just kind of anywhere within your in your neck area, then you should probably stop. Actually, no, neck or head, really, because sometimes some people focus more on like a head voice or than a chest voice. It's all practice, really. You just kind of learn by doing when it comes to voice work. And again, I kind of could cheat because I have a singing background. I'm a mezzo, so I can either go super high at certain pitches or I can go really low at certain pitches. And I can't really go any further down than those pitches. I am sadly not as good as Idina Menzel though, because she can go stupidly low for some reason. Oh, Kingdom Hearts fandom. You don't say. Okay, me scrolling and looking just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I'll answer that one too really quick then. I actually don't do tongue twisters. I am terrible at them. And I tend to trip over my words anyway, so I'd kind of avoid that. Hey, no problem. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. And I think now we're about good to probably end things off. Cause it's 9:40 and it's work tomorrow. Yippee. Yippee ki And before I that, babes, thank you for stopping in. Thank you for stopping in. You guys can find me on social media for Twitter at Shakyra Dunn with a Y, not an I. For my YouTube and Instagram, it is at Seer of Words. Uh, my website you can probably find through my Twitter as well. It's ShakyraDunnVA.com. I can actually do it here too. It's probably quicker. Da, 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 da. I can't type correctly because I'm in a tiny room. See, this is what happens when you live in a tiny place. I promise I'm trying to type. And wow, of course it does that. Anyway, hang on. There. That's better. No worries, Otter. You can always check the playback whenever it pops up. But anyways, there are my sites. Night, everyone. Thanks for stopping in.